It's all gone. Everything is gone.
So like this fruit is not going to be able to be harvested because it's too far gone.
That's because on day one of the harvest, about half of their 120-person workforce wasn't there.
Our harvest workforce is primarily immigrants. I would say the majority are from Mexico originally. They are skilled workers who come up every single year. A lot of people have a lot of fear based on their ethnicity, which is an unfortunate thing.
Chandler says the fear over ICE raids isn't just present at his farm, but across many farms like his. For him, it means an unprecedented loss.
So we are in a situation where we're going to have to leave probably 300 to 400 tons of fruit on the tree. It's going to be devastating.
He and his wife are even looking for second jobs to make up for the loss. But on top of those fears, Chandler's wife is from Mexico, and the knowledge that people who look like her and his children don't feel welcome hits close to home.
We've got regular people out here who are helping us out. They're not criminals, they're not bad people. They're just like you and I. They're just trying to make a living. They're, taking care of their families. And for them to be in this country and in fear, that doesn't feel very good.
So food prices in America are expected to skyrocket anytime soon due to the ongoing mass deportation. Now that's because most of these workers on these farms are mostly immigrants, and because they don't have documents, most of them are scared to come to work. They might get caught and deported, so the crops on these farms are being left alone. Most of them have started rotting.
So this morning I wake up to find out that 75% of the farm workers are not showing up to work in California. This is exactly how you, documented, undocumented immigrants, and anybody who works alongside you all that supports you, this is how you show America exactly how much our economy depends on your hard efforts and work. Thank you so much for banding together to do this. It's about time that the rest of the people in the United States that are spoiled, rotten, rich understand that their only cheap fruit comes because of the fruit of your labors.
And food prices are about to soar because of it. We are going to get to a point where it's not going to be a case of can you find an orange? It's can you afford it if you do. Donald Trump has come into office thinking he can just do whatever he wants and the world will just respond to his whim. And instead, he is finding out the hard way and we're going to pay the price.
Why not just hire people from here?
Yeah, so we would love to hire people from here. The reality is we can't find the numbers of people here. We're in a rural area, number one. Number two, this is hard work. It is difficult work. And there are lots of people that are not willing to do it.
There is a clear directive from the administration that they want mass deportation. That is impacting then our labor force. Is that what I'm understanding?
It's absolutely impacting the labor force, and the president said so himself. He said the aggressive raids are hurting our farmers. Somewhere between 50 and 60% of our farm labor workforce is undocumented immigrants. If we were to deport them all overnight, then that's 60% of the workforce. That means higher prices for them at the grocery store.
Wait, you mean to tell me Americans don't want to pick lettuce for $2 an hour? No. Now the farmers are crying because they can't find any workers. Ain't that something? After you pushed out all of the immigrant workers who actually did the job, now you're standing around wondering why Chet and Kaylee won't come pick your cabbage in 100-degree weather for $4.75 and a Capri Sun. Y'all really thought folks were going to jump at the chance to break their backs for pennies on a dollar. But you know what's even funnier, y'all? Some of these farmers say the American workers they do get, they don't even last the whole damn day. One guy said somebody walked off by luck, and honestly, I support it. Listen, I wouldn't be out there picking strawberries and fighting bees and being dehydrated just so that farmer could sell those strawberries for $12.99 a box at Whole Foods. Negative. See, they've been telling you this lie for years. They took our jobs. Nah, Americans, you didn't want those jobs. You just didn't want them to have the jobs either. Now look at you. A field full of crops and not a soul to pick them. Next time, think twice before turning labor into a culture war. 'Cause now, it's just you and your own damn tomatoes.
MAGA farmers did this to themselves, and there's no sympathy. They knew illegal immigrants made up their workforce, and they had Trump say that he was going to deport them loudly, but they still cheered and voted to deport them because of racism and hatred for immigrants. So let's have a look. Please like and hype the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments, alright? Let's get into it.
You have to be astronomically fucking stupid to live in the same country as a trillionaire and still think that you can't afford to live because of immigrants. Like, you have to be dumb as fuck, bro.
They blame immigrants so that you don't blame billionaires. Because immigrants are an easy target. They're visible, they have accents, they don't own media companies, they don't fund political campaigns, and they can't sue you for defamation. Billionaires, on the other hand, are very inconvenient to blame. They're harder to picture, they're harder to reach, and they've spent a lot of money making sure you're mad at someone else. Immigrants didn't lobby to keep wages low. Immigrants don't buy politicians. Immigrants don't hoard housing. They didn't crush unions, ship your job overseas, but someone did. Diversity isn't a weakness. It's a sign of intelligence. That's why every city people romanticize, New York, Los Angeles, London, Paris, is built by immigrants. A lot of the fear around diversity is actually insecurity. Because when people say they're afraid of losing their culture, I have a question. What culture? Not Irish culture, not Italian culture, not German, Polish, Jewish, Greek, or Slavic culture. Those are real cultures. With food, with music, language, rituals, stories. White culture, as we talk about it now, isn't really a culture. It's a category. A political identity built around not being something else. And when your identity is built by exclusion, diversity feels like erasure. Not because it is, but because there's nothing solid underneath it. So instead of asking, how do we share space, the question becomes, how do we keep control? And we've all seen this person. For example, Kristi Noem, the woman overseeing ICE and deportations, photographed at a Mexican restaurant wearing a sombrero, enjoying Mexican culture, while running an agency that raids immigrant communities. And when people say, oh, well, they're only against illegal immigration. Okay, legal just means approved by a system that decides who gets to belong. And when a system is designed to keep some people waiting forever, just do it legally isn't neutral. It's exclusion with paperwork. Human migration is natural. It's older than countries, older than borders, older than paperwork. America loves immigrant culture, Mexican food, black music. We love queer fashion. We love slang, style, rhythm, spice, flavor, but not the people. Give us the culture, not the citizenship, not the safety, not the rights. That's not appreciation, that's extraction. So no, immigrants are not the problem. They're the distraction. Because if people ever stopped blaming immigrants, they might start blaming the people who are actually hoarding wealth, the power, and the future. And that would be very inconvenient.
Do you know where your fruits and vegetables come from? Over 1/3 of U.S. vegetables and also 3/4 of fruits and nuts are grown in California. Did you know that? Well, right now in California, because of all these ICE raids, 70% of workers are gone due to workers being afraid of the ICE raids. 70%. And in an article I was reading on The Guardian, someone in the business said, if 70% of your workers don't show up, 70% of your crop doesn't get picked and can go bad within 1 day. This is real, and it has a devastating impact on the entire United States. And according to the story, California farms generate $60 billion in agricultural sales every year. Even Trump had said at one point a couple weeks ago that our farmers are being hurt badly. They have very good workers. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be great. Okay. But then he turned around after he was going to supposedly protect farm workers and restaurant workers and said, no, we're going to continue raids on them too. And right now there's been no policy to change anything. And you know, it's a ripple effect. So this is going to take maybe a couple more weeks, maybe a month, and we are really going to start to notice the prices are going to skyrocket for fruits and vegetables and nuts. And forget the GOP and the MAGA people who are going to say, oh, we'll get our stuff from other countries. No, you won't. And if you do, you're going to pay. And at the end of the day, what part of $60 billion in sales revenue did you not understand? So enjoy your avocados, your apples, your tomatoes, your lettuce, your corn, your watermelon, because in the coming weeks, you're either going to have none or they're going to cost so much money, a lot of people will just not be able to afford buying them.
So you want to deport everyone, huh? In 2011, North Carolina needed 6,500 farm workers. Only 268 legal Americans applied. 245 were hired, but only 163 showed up to the first day. Worse, only 7 lasted till the end of the growing season. Migrant workers aren't taking your jobs. They're doing the jobs you would never do. And while they're doing that, they're paying taxes into Social Security, which they will never get back. And you want to deport them all. Have fun working on the farm.
When all the immigrants are gone and you've got your country back, when the boats stop floating, the slogans stop gloating and every flag is unpacked, when the comment sections celebrate, when the headlines spike champagne, when every problem that was their fault has boarded the final plane, what happens next? When your landlord sticks the rent up again? What happens next when your wages stay exactly where they were? What happens next when your daughter can't afford a home within 50 miles of where she grew? When your son works 40 hours a week but still cannot make it through? What happens next? When the high street's still a graveyard? What happens next? When the food bank's still got queues around the corners? What happens next? When the school needs repairs? When the waiting list is years? When the care home's short on staff? When the ambulance still doesn't come? Do we just pretend and laugh, or do we find another target, another accent, another faith, another postcode, another face, another group to point at, while the people at the top point somewhere else again? Because I've noticed something strange. The people selling panic never seem to panic. The people selling fear never seem afraid. The people telling you who's robbing you always seem remarkably well paid. And every time you ask why your town is being hollowed out, why the library's shut, why the youth club's shut, why the bus is stopped, why the dentist disappeared, why your nan waits 12 hours in A&E, why your pay slip shrinks while somebody's portfolio expands, they change the subject every single time. And maybe that's the trick. Keep the public looking sideways so they never look above. Keep them arguing with their neighbours instead of asking where the money's gone. Keep them furious at strangers instead of curious about power. Because if we're all shouting at each other, no one's knocking on the right door. So when all the immigrants are gone and you've got your country back and the rent still rises and the bills still bite and the town still feels abandoned and your kids still leave because they have to, and the people who promise salvation are already searching for somebody new to blame, what happens next? Because if the answer isn't immigrants and it isn't refugees and it isn't people arriving with nothing, then eventually we might have to talk about the people who arrived with everything.
America's farming industry has relied on immigrants for decades, and these are jobs that involve long hours under the hot sun, physical labor, and difficult working conditions, jobs that many Americans are not willing to do. And the lacking documentation does not make illegal immigrants criminals. These are people that have stayed in the US for many years, They have created families. Their children, they go to American schools. They attend churches. They pay taxes, So these are human beings with hopes and dreams just like anyone else. Every country has a right to enforce its immigration laws and secure its borders. But America should come up with practical solutions that keep the farms operating while treating people with dignity. And study shows that immigrants, they commit less crime than normal citizens because they know what they came to do in America and they don't want to jeopardize their stay. They have families, who depend on them back at home and in America, and they want to create a better future for themselves and for their families. America has always been shaped by immigrants, and if farmers cannot find enough workers, food production is going to fall. And when the supply chain goes down, prices are going to rise. And this affects everyone, regardless of any political party. Families buying groceries, restaurants, grocery stores, and local communities all feel the impact. And that's why people are saying the country needs immigration reform that is realistic and humane. America can enforce its immigration laws while treating people with dignity and even respect. Real leadership is about solving problems and not creating problems. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.